Hidden teachings of the Bible that explain manifestation, consciousness and oneness. God wants you to be rich. Isn't this a strange way of starting an article? But it's true. What so many people believe you have to suffer through poverty to become a good person, it is false. It's something lost in translation. If you look at the Bible, if you look at the Christian tombs and documents, if you look at the history of Christianity, then you'll see that God never wanted poverty and suffering for its subjects. No, the Almighty wanted all of us to live a life full of abundance and of gifts. When I first heard this, I was skeptical. As most people, they raised me with the belief that a good Christian is a person that is not interested in material possessions and that somehow, money makes me and my life dirty. Then I've analyzed the Bible, passage by passage, and I've discovered a trend, something you'll agree with if you've read it. I've discovered that God rewarded all his good subjects with riches. Abraham is a good example. He became rich in cattle and silver, and this is not the only one. In the Bible there is a passage like, "Heaven is on earth and it is invisible to all people." God created earth not for us to lack, not for us to starve, not for us to want what we don't have, but to be surrounded by everything we could have ever wanted. And for a long time, this was true. There was enough for everyone. You didn't need to go to the store to buy food. You could find it all around you. Cows would provide milk and trees fruit. Oceans would provide with delicious fish, and people did not need money, as there was nothing to buy, all was provided for them. A lot changed since then, but not the intention of God. Our Creator still wants us to be rich, healthy, wealthy. He wants us to be happy and to experience happiness through whatever means makes sense to us. Let's go back to the Bible for just a second. Weren't the poor rewarded with riches? Weren't the sick rewarded with good health? Isn't the Bible full of examples of how those who needed something got it once they've learned how to ask? Now this may upset a few, especially those with very strong beliefs, but it is my firm conviction that the Bible is a book on manifestation. That the Bible is the best, most powerful book on how to create your life together with the universe. Sure, it's not as easy to read as The Secret, and its lessons are not spelled out, but they are there. Everything you need to know, to do to manifest a good life is in the Bible. One of the simplest to understand is, "As a man thinketh, so shall he become." Isn't this law of attraction? You become what you think about. Another important lesson I've learned from the Bible is that everyone is just a vassal for the creation of God. Just like God created the planet and everything around us, so we, as humans, we create through his intention. We are creators because we're blessed with the same divine creative power. Everything around us is the creation of God through us. And this is hard to understand if you haven't studied the field, but take a second and think about it. If God made us and we made everything around us, then didn't God created everything we've created too? Also, if God did not want us to live a happy and comfortable life, full of abundance and joy, then why did he give us the means to create such a life? The human race created so many tools for comfort and prosperity. You may not realize it, but we are living in the best age in human history. Life expectancy is huge. Less than 1,000 years ago, you'd be lucky if you would live even to 40. Now, it's normal to live to 80, 90 and some people to 100. We have hot water and we can shower. When we have an infection, we can take antibiotics, and when we have a headache, we can take aspirin. We have cars to take us places, and we can work with our minds and not our bodies. Instead of being in the field, in the hot water, gathering potatoes, we can build wealth using our brains, from the comfort of an office. It is a wonderful age we're living in. As Abraham Hicks said, what you have now, even if you're poor, it is better, more, in greater number than what kings had a few hundred years before. Wrap your mind around this: a normal life right now is basically more comfortable and safer than the life of a king back then. You have a toilet, they did not. You have modern medicine. They did not, and a simple cold could have killed you. You have a car, you don't have to ride a horse. You can shower as many times as you want. You have this small device in your pocket that can connect you with someone around the world. Back then, you'd send a ship and wait 6 months for the answer. There is all this prosperity and abundance around us, it is overwhelming, honestly. And all of this is the will of God. If you live in most parts of the world, when you go on the street you don't see starving people and pain. You see people having more comforts today than the richest person in the world had just a few hundred years ago. God wants you to be rich. If God wanted you to be poor, you would not have the device you're using right now to read this. Think about it. If God wanted us to be poor and humble, then He would have not given the gift of creation to Bill Gates and Steve Jobs. Instead, He gave this to them and to millions others, and we are where we are. And don't take my word for it. Look around you. The world in which you live is living proof. But also read the Bible and you'll see that Earth was meant to be heaven too. That Earth is just an extension of the Garden of Eden. Isn't Earth full of minerals we use? Isn't Earth full of food we can eat? Isn't Earth full of animals we can tame? Isn't Earth full of natural beauty we can admire? Isn't Earth providing us with everything we need to live? I mean, if Earth was a bad place to live in, if God wanted to punish us and force us to live a humble life, how come we have come so far to soon colonize other planets? It's been over 2,000 years since Jesus and we're sending rockets to Mars. God provided us with the tools to come with this, and we've found all the resources we need in God's greatest creation, Earth. God wants you to be rich. And God can take many names. I understand that not everyone is a Christian, so it may be Allah for you, or Shiva, or the universe. I don't know, and I won't force you to use any specific name. Replace it with what makes sense for you. But we're all talking about the source of creation, the infinite power that shapes all there is, and it shaped us, the humans, and our beautiful planet to be a place of abundance. We've received the gifts to create abundance for ourselves, and we've also received a planet that contains everything we could have ever wanted for. God wants you to be rich and happy. Understand this and you'll have the entire force of the universe at your disposal for manifesting the life you desire.